They threw me out of the family vacation, but when they arrived at the resort, I was waiting at the front desk. As the owner, my name is Frank Morrison. I am 65, Korean War veteran, Purple Heart. I raised 2 kids alone after my wife died, gave them everything, paid for weddings, cars, apartments, careers. Last week, my driver Miguel called me, voice shaking, "Mr. Morrison, I heard something in the car. Your kids, they're planning to put you in a nursing home before Christmas. They said you are ruining their new relationships." But here is what they didn't know. I had a plan that would change everything. Let me back up. My daughter Rebecca is 43, just got divorced. Now she is engaged to Brandon Rothschild, some hotshot investment banker from Manhattan. My son Daniel is 40, also divorced. His new fiancée is Victoria Chen, a corporate lawyer who bills $600 an hour. Both of them are getting married in January. Double weddings, big celebrations, and apparently I am the problem. See, Rebecca and Daniel have been living off me for 25 years. I paid for Rebecca's first wedding $87,000 at the Chicago Athletic Association Hotel. Lasted 6 years. I gave Daniel $70,000 for a condo down payment. He lost it all in his divorce, but that is not even the worst part. Total $317,000 over 25 years. But it wasn't just money. When Rebecca wanted a promotion at her tech company, I called in a favor. See, the CEO's father saved my life in Korea. Battle of Heartbreak Ridge, 1952. One phone call, one lunch meeting at Gibson Steakhouse. And Rebecca got her director position. She never even said thank you. She just updated her LinkedIn and started acting like she earned it all by herself. But last Monday changed everything. Miguel Torres has been driving for my family for 18 years. He is more than an employee. He is a friend. I helped his daughter get into Northwestern Medical School through veteran scholarship connections. His family and mine, we've been through everything together. So when Miguel picked up Rebecca and Daniel from O'Hare Airport last Monday evening, he thought it was just another airport run. Routine, simple. But the privacy screen between the front and back seats wasn't fully closed. There was a crack, maybe 2 inches. He called me at 8:47 p.m. I remember the exact time because I was watching the Bulls game, drinking my evening coffee, completely unaware that my world was about to shatter. "Mr. Morrison." Miguel's voice was tight, controlled, like he was forcing himself to stay calm. "I need to tell you something, but you have to promise me you won't do anything crazy." My stomach dropped. I've heard that tone before. In Korea. Right before a medic tells you the guy next to you isn't going to make it. What happened, Miguel? Silence. Then, it is Rebecca and Daniel, sir. In the car. They didn't know I could hear them. What did they say? Miguel took a deep breath. They were talking about you. About getting rid of you before Christmas. They already have the paperwork, Mr. Morrison. Sunrise Senior living in Naperville. They're planning to move you there before their weddings, they said. They said their new partners don't want an old, crippled veteran embarrassing them at the ceremonies. Old, crippled veteran. Those words hit me like sniper fire. I'd taken shrapnel in my right knee, saving 3 men in my unit. I walk with a limp. I've walked with a limp for 63 years, and my own children called me a cripple. But Miguel wasn't finished. "There is more, sir." They were laughing about it. Daniel said, "Dad's house in Lincoln Park is worth $2.4 million. Once we get him into Sunrise, we can sell it and split the money, clear our debts, upgrade our lives. Brandon and Victoria won't have to worry about the old man showing up at holidays." Miguel heard her laugh. Then she said, "It is not like he'll even notice. He barely leaves the house anyway. We're doing him a favor. Really, old people are happier in those places with other old people." I sat there in my living room, phone pressed against my ear, feeling something cold and sharp crystallize in my chest. Not rage. Rage is hot, messy, uncontrolled. This was something else. Something colder, clearer. "Miguel," I said slowly, "I need you to do something for me. Anything, sir. Record everything, every conversation they have in that car. Every phone call you can safely capture. Can you do that?" "Mr. Morrison, are you sure? These are your children. Are they? Are they really? I taught them that love is measured in dollars. That family means, what can you do for me?" And now they decided I'd done enough. Now I was disposable. But what they didn't know, what they couldn't possibly know, was that dear old dad had a few secrets of his own. See, after my wife Margaret died 12 years ago, I made a decision. I was 53 years old, alone, grieving, and I realized something. My children were never going to take care of me the way I'd taken care of them. So I started building, quietly, carefully, strategically. I worked double shifts as a facilities manager at Northwestern Memorial Hospital, saved every extra dollar, took online courses in real estate investment, started small a duplex in Pilsen, then a small apartment building in Bridgeport. I never told Rebecca or Daniel. They thought I was just working overtime to stay busy after Margaret died. By 2015, I'd saved enough for my first real move. Remember the 2008 financial crisis? While everyone else was panicking, I was waiting, watching, learning. In 2015, a boutique hotel in Tampa. Beautiful property, 28 rooms, just needed renovation and proper management. The bank was desperate to unload it. I bought it for $380,000. Fixed it up, hired a manager. Within 18 months, it was profitable. I named a holding company Wilson Holdings, LLC, using my middle name, Thomas, to keep it separate from my personal life. Anonymous, invisible. By 2018, I owned 2 more properties, a bed and breakfast in Sarasota, a small resort in St. Augustine, each one carefully selected, renovated, managed professionally. My children had no idea. They saw me in my modest Lincoln Park house with the old furniture and outdated curtains. They saw the worn jacket I wore to family dinners. They saw an old veteran living on a pension and Social Security. They never asked questions, never wondered how I could keep giving them money, never bothered to look deeper. And I built it all while they were busy spending my pension checks. Instead, I opened my laptop, pulled up my business banking account, checked my liquid assets, $2.1 million, available immediately. Then I did something that would change everything. I Googled Paradise Cove Resort St. Thomas for sale. Now, you are probably wondering, why Paradise Cove? Why St. Thomas? Let me explain. 3 weeks earlier, Rebecca and Daniel had come to my house for what they called a family dinner. Barely touched the pot roast I'd spent 4 hours making. Margaret's recipe, the one Rebecca used to beg for as a kid. Daniel pulled out his phone during dessert and said, "Dad, we're doing a family vacation, St. Thomas, Paradise Cove Resort, week-long trip. Me, Rebecca, and our new partners. Oh, and their parents." Rebecca didn't even look up from her phone. We leave December 21st. I set down my fork carefully. That sounds wonderful. What resort did you say? Paradise Cove, Daniel repeated, annoyed at having to repeat himself. 5-star private beach. Really exclusive. I'd love to join, I said. I can cover my own expenses. The silence that followed was deafening. Rebecca finally looked up. Her eyes were cold. Flat. Dad, we need a break from you. Just like that. 6 words, delivered like she was ordering coffee. Daniel jumped in quickly, trying to soften it. It is not personal. We just need some quality time with our new families. You understand, right? Brandon, Rebecca's fiancé, was there too. He'd been quiet all evening, checking his Rolex every few minutes like my house was contaminating him. Now he leaned back and said, "No offense, Frank, but this is really more of a younger crowd kind of trip. You'd probably be more comfortable at home." Victoria, Daniel's fiancée, nodded. Exactly. It is already booked anyway. 5 people, there's no room. I looked at my children, really looked at them. Rebecca wouldn't meet my eyes. Daniel was already back on his phone. And I realized they'd already decided. This wasn't a discussion. This was a notification. I smiled, nodded. Of course, you kids have fun. After they left, I sat alone in my dining room. The pot roast sat mostly uneaten on the table. The wine they'd brought, expensive Napa Cabernet, I'd specifically bought for the dinner, sat empty. They'd drunk it all. Never poured me a glass. That is when I started planning, and it started with a simple Google search: Paradise Cove Resort St. Thomas for sale. The listing loaded on my screen. Boutique resort, 80 rooms. Private marina, beachfront property. Currently struggling due to ownership issues. Asking price, $1.85 million. Owner retiring. motivated to sell, closing possible within 60 days. I sat there staring at that listing for a long time, the pieces falling into place. My children wanted a vacation without me, a break from their embarrassing old father. Fine, they'd get exactly what they asked for, but on my terms. I picked up the phone and called David Richardson, my attorney for the past 20 years. It was 11 p.m., but David answered on the second ring. That is what happens when you've been a good client for 2 decades. David, I need an emergency consultation. Tomorrow morning. Can you make it happen? Robert, what is going on? I am buying a hotel in the Virgin Islands. I need to close the deal in 72 hours. And I need my house in Chicago placed in an irrevocable trust. Immediately. Silence. Then, Robert, that is extremely aggressive timing. What is driving this? Family complications, I said. I'll explain tomorrow. That night, I didn't sleep, couldn't. I spent the hours researching Paradise Cove. The property had good bones. Beautiful location. Just needed proper management and someone who actually cared about running it well. By 6 a.m., I drafted a business plan. By 8 a.m., I was in David's office with financial documents spread across his conference table. He studied them with increasing concern. Robert, you want to buy a commercial property site unseen in 72 hours? Yes. May I ask why the impossible timeline? I met his eyes. My children are vacationing there December 21st. They don't know I am buying the property. I need to own it before they arrive. David removed his glasses, set them down carefully. Robert, there is clearly personal motivation here, but acquiring commercial property in the Virgin Islands, with 72 hours of due diligence, is professionally inadvisable. The property is listed. The owner is motivated. I have the capital. What is the actual legal risk? He sighed. Title issues, undisclosed liens, structural problems. You are buying blind. Then find me someone in St. Thomas who can do rapid due diligence. I'll pay whatever it costs. David studied me for a long moment. Whatever he saw in my face made him nod slowly. I'll bring in a Virgin Islands attorney, someone local who knows the territory. Robert, he leaned forward. What did they do? I kept my voice level. They needed a break from me. I am giving them one. He didn't press further. Smart man. I left his office at noon and drove straight to the bank. My relationship manager nearly fell out of his chair when I requested immediate access to $1.9 million. That is aggressive timing, Mr. Morrison. May I ask the purpose? Investment opportunity. Time sensitive. Can you do it? I'll need to verify collateral. And I am putting up my Tampa and Sarasota properties as additional collateral. Run the numbers. I'll wait. 3 hours later, I had preliminary approval. The funds would be available by Friday morning. Then I did something that would seal my children's fate. I called a notary named Michael Thompson. Michael, I need trust documents prepared for my residential property. I want it transferred to an irrevocable personal trust with me as sole trustee and beneficiary. How fast can you draft them? Standard timeline is a week for. I need them in 72 hours. Bill me your expedited rate. Silence. Then I'll have documents to you by Thursday evening. Perfect. See, here is what my children didn't understand. That house they were planning to sell, the one worth $2.4 million, they thought it would automatically become theirs someday. But an irrevocable trust meant they couldn't force a sale, couldn't claim inheritance rights while I was living, couldn't even contest the arrangement without massive legal expense. The house was mine. Period. Forever. And they were about to find out just how thoroughly I'd protected myself. Wednesday morning, I boarded a flight to St. Thomas, direct from O'Hare, 3.5 hours. I told no one. Rebecca thought I was home watching television. Daniel assumed I was at the VA hospital for my weekly physical therapy. Neither of them called to check. King Airport at 2:15 p.m. The Caribbean heat hit me like a wall when I stepped onto the tarmac. Salt air, palm trees, tourists everywhere in bright shirts and straw hats, dragging roller bags toward rental cars. I carried only my briefcase. This wasn't vacation. This was war. A taxi driver knew Paradise Cove without needing the address. Nice place, he said, navigating through Charlotte Amelie's narrow streets. You staying there? Business meeting, I said. We wound along the coast, turquoise water flashing between palm trees. Resort developments perched on hillsides. Cruise ships in the harbor. 15 minutes later, we turned onto a private drive, marked by a weathered wooden sign. Paradise Cove Resort. The property was smaller than the photos suggested. A horseshoe of pale yellow buildings arranged around a central pool. The lobby sat at the horseshoe's base. Ceiling fan, clicking unevenly. Furniture that had been expensive once but showed its age now. But I saw past the tired exterior. Beautiful bones. Prime location. Exactly what I needed. A man waited in the lobby. Late 50s, shoulders slumped, defeated. Mr. Morrison, William Clark. His handshake was weak. Thank you for coming on such short notice. We toured the property. 28 rooms. Private beach down a stone stairway. Small restaurant serving breakfast. Everything functional, nothing failing, just tired. A woman emerged from the office. Early 40s. Professional despite the heat. Mr. Clark, the Johnson party checked out early. And she stopped, seeing me. Amanda, this is Robert Morrison, potential buyer. Amanda Parker extended her hand. Firm grip, direct eyes. Will you be keeping current staff? I am evaluating everything, I said. How long have you been general manager? 8 years. 8 years meant she knew every system, every vendor, every guest complaint pattern. That knowledge had value. Good, I'll need that. We continued to William's cramped office behind the front desk. I opened my briefcase and slid my offer across his desk. Your listing says 1.85. I can close in 72 hours at 1.72, all cash. Minimal contingencies. William read slowly. When he looked up, hope flickered in his eyes. You are serious? Completely. I slid my bank letter across. Proof of funds. He read it twice, set it down carefully. I'll call my attorney. We can have preliminary documents by tonight. That evening, I met with a sharp-eyed Virgin Islands attorney named Sarah Chen. She walked me through title documents, inspection reports, existing bookings. Everything looked solid. The property is sound, she concluded at midnight. If you are comfortable with the timeline, I see no reason not to proceed. Draw up closing documents. Thursday afternoon, we sat in William's office again. Numbers aligned, documents signed. I wired the deposit, $172,000. William's hand trembled when we shook. You are saving my life. I didn't respond. This wasn't about saving anyone. Friday morning, the closing took 3 hours. Wire transfers, title transfers, keys exchanged. By noon, Paradise Cove Resort belonged to Wilson Holdings LLC. I sat alone in what was now my office, staring at the ownership documents. In 72 hours, I'd purchased an entire resort. Then I opened Amanda's reservation system and scrolled to December. The 21st of December through 28th Morrison party. 4 guests, deluxe ocean view suite, prepaid deposit. I took a photo of the screen with my phone. Then I called Amanda to my office. Amanda, I am keeping you as general manager. Your salary increases 20%, effective immediately. Her eyes widened. Thank you, Mr. Morrison. You'll earn it. I have specific instructions. I slid a handwritten list across the desk. These room reassignments and pricing adjustments take effect December 21st. She scanned the list. Her frown deepened. These are significant changes. Some guests have confirmed reservations at current rates. Ownership changed. Virgin Islands law allows modifications with 72 hours notice. But guests won't be happy. There is one reservation in particular. December 21st. Morrison party. 4 guests. She checked her tablet. Yes. Deluxe ocean. View suite. Week. Long stay. Change it. Standard rooms. No ocean view. Apply new pricing structure. 40% increase across all services. Amanda looked up slowly. But they've already confirmed at the old rate. New ownership. New terms. They'll be notified Monday. That gives them 74 hours. She studied me. This is personal. This is business. Will you follow these instructions? Pause. Then, she nodded. Yes, sir. When they arrive and express surprise, you will inform them that I am the owner. Not before. Understood. I am flying back to Chicago tomorrow. You have my contact information. Otherwise, I trust your judgment. That evening, I stood on Paradise Cove's beach. Feet in sand still warm from the day's sun. Waves lapping gently. In 10 days, Rebecca and Daniel would stand in this exact spot, expecting their exclusive paradise vacation. They would find something very different, waiting. I pulled out my phone and looked at the photo I'd taken of their reservation. Then, I opened my email and found the message from Michael Thompson. Trust documents. Ready for signature upon your return. Everything was falling into place. My children wanted a break from me. They were about to get exactly what they asked for. But the real question is, was I being cruel? Or was I teaching them the most important lesson they'd ever learn? You see, I didn't do this out of hatred. I did it because sometimes love means showing your children the consequences of their choices. Sometimes, the most loving thing a parent can do is stop enabling and start teaching. They'd spent 25 years learning that Dad would always bail them out, always forgive, always give more. It was time they learned a different lesson. And as I stood on that beach, watching the sunset paint the sky orange and gold, I felt something I hadn't felt in years: peace. I returned to Chicago before dawn Saturday. My suitcase was hidden in my closet before sunrise, every trace of St. Thomas erased. The taxi dropped me 3 blocks away. Couldn't risk anyone seeing me arrive. Rebecca and Daniel thought I'd been home all week, alone, pathetic. They had no idea. By 7 a.m., I was making coffee like nothing had changed. Like I hadn't just orchestrated the most elaborate lesson my children would ever receive. That afternoon, Rebecca called. Dad, just confirming. We leave for St. Thomas on the 21st. You are okay being alone for Christmas? The casual cruelty of that question still amazes me. I'll be fine, sweetheart. You kids deserve this vacation. Thanks, Dad. We'll send photos. Photos. Yes, I was very interested in those photos. The next 2 weeks were pure theater. When Daniel stopped by December 10th to check on me, I made him a sandwich, asked about wedding plans, showed appropriate excitement. Victoria's parents are flying in for the trip, he said, barely looking up from his phone. They're excited about St. Thomas. That is wonderful, son. He left 20 minutes later, never asking how I was doing. When Rebecca came by December 15th with my Christmas present, a cheap Target sweater, tags attached, I thanked her warmly. She was gone in 5 minutes. Neither noticed anything different about me. Neither wondered why I seemed so peaceful. December 20th arrived. That morning, I signed the trust documents at Michael Thompson's office. Every signature another lock on the house they planned to sell. This is ironclad, Michael confirmed. Complete protection. No one can force sale. Perfect. File it today. That afternoon, Amanda texted from St. Thomas, email notifications sent. All changes confirmed. They arrive tomorrow, 3 p.m. Everything was ready. December 21st. Departure day. Rebecca called at 9 a.m. Dad, we're at the airport. Just saying goodbye. Have a safe flight, sweetheart. Love you, Dad. Love you too. The words felt hollow. 30 minutes later, I pulled out my own suitcase. My flight left at 2 p.m. different airline, different terminal. By 5 p.m. Chicago time, I was landing in St. Thomas. Rebecca and Daniel were over the Atlantic now, probably sipping champagne, charging drinks to credit cards they couldn't afford. I took a taxi to Paradise Cove. Amanda met me at the side entrance. They arrive at 6 p.m. Everything's prepared. We walk to rooms 12 and 14. Standard accommodations. Small windows overlooking the parking lot. Functional AC that hummed loudly. Dated furniture. Basic amenities. Weak water pressure. Nothing broken, nothing illegal. Just disappointing. Perfect, I said. At 5:50 p.m., I changed into business attire. Navy slacks. The professional resort owner. I positioned myself in the hallway adjacent to the lobby. Not visible from the entrance, but close enough to observe. At 5:58 p.m., Gravel crunched outside. Through the window, I watched them emerge from a taxi. Rebecca first, shading her eyes. Daniel scanning the property. Brandon Rothschild, tall, expensive suit, gleaming Rolex. Victoria Chen, elegant, already photographing. They looked excited. Confident, they had no idea. The doors opened. He slapped his credit card on the reception desk. Rothschild party. Deluxe ocean view suite. Amanda took the card professionally, began typing. Paused. Yes, Mr. Rothschild, there has been a slight adjustment due to ownership transition. Brandon's expression sharpened. Adjustment? We booked 4 months ago. If you'll wait in the lobby, I'll have everything ready. He sighed dramatically. Rebecca settled on the sofa. Daniel and Victoria admired the pool view. This was the moment. I stepped from the hallway, tablet in hand, Marcus beside me. Professional, composed. I walked across the lobby, eyes on my screen. 10 feet from them, Rebecca glanced up casually. Her eyes registered my presence. Then, recognition hit. Dad, everything stopped. Daniel's head whipped around. Brandon and Victoria froze. I looked up as if just noticing them. Showed no surprise. Dad, what are you doing here? Rebecca's voice carried genuine shock. Brandon's confusion morphed to anger. You followed us. This is insane. I met his gaze calmly. I work here. He laughed harshly. You work here. You got a job to spy on us. This is harassment, Brandon said, voice rising. I want him removed immediately. I am conducting business. Get security, Brandon demanded. We're paying guests. Amanda signaled Marcus, who stepped forward professionally. Sir, please lower your voice. Tell him to leave. Amanda stood. When she spoke, her voice carried across the lobby with perfect clarity. Mr. Rothschild, Mr. Morrison is the owner of Paradise Cove Resort. As of December 19th, you are his guests. Complete silence. Brandon's mouth hung open. Owner. Rebecca stared at me, color draining. You bought this hotel. I met her eyes. I did. Victoria's phone clattered to the floor. Daniel caught her arm. Brandon recovered, aggression flooding back. This is fraud. We booked in good faith. Your reservation stands, Amanda said smoothly. There have been adjustments due to ownership transition, which is standard practice. This is a setup. Brandon's voice climbed. I allowed the smallest smile. This is a hotel. You made a reservation. You are checking in. How long have you? I closed the purchase last Friday. 4 days ago, Victoria said faintly. We booked in March. Ownership changes happen. I made an offer. Business. Brandon turned to Amanda, ignoring me. Fine. We'll check in. Then we're filing complaints. This is fraud. You are welcome to file whatever you wish, Amanda replied. She slid the registration form across. Brandon signed with violent strokes. Amanda produced key cards. Rooms 12 and 14, second floor. Brandon's eyes narrowed. We booked the deluxe ocean view suite. Due to ownership transition, some reassignments were necessary. You were notified via email 72 hours prior. We got no email. Amanda turned her monitor. Sent Monday, 9 a.m. to the email on file. Brandon grabbed his phone. Scrolled violently. Found it. His jaw tightened. This says rates increased 40%. Correct. New ownership implemented updated pricing. You were notified within the legal window. Understanding flooded his face as he looked at me. You did this deliberately. I said nothing. Rebecca took a key card with shaking hands. Still wouldn't look at me. Breakfast included, 6 to 10 a.m. Amanda continued. Checkout is 11 a.m. on the 28th. No questions. Brandon said through clenched teeth. Rebecca followed like a sleepwalker. Victoria gripped Daniel's arm. Brandon remained at the desk, staring at me with pure hatred. You'll regret this. Perhaps, but not today. He grabbed the key card and stalked toward the stairs. I watched them climb. Rebecca's shoulders rigid, Brandon radiating fury. Marcus moved beside me, exactly as planned. Yes. What happens when they see the rooms? I checked my watch. In 2 minutes, they'll discover parking lot views, old SE units, basic amenities. They'll realize this isn't the luxury suite they expected. Through second-floor windows, I saw movement. Room 12's door opening. Rebecca stepping inside. Stopping. Brandon's arms gesturing wildly. Within 15 minutes, my office phone rang. Miss Morrison on line 2, room complaint. Rebecca's voice was tight. We booked a deluxe ocean view suite. This is a standard room facing the parking lot. Amanda's response. I apologize for confusion. During ownership transition, some reassignments were necessary. Your rate remains unchanged. Can we upgrade? Pay the difference? All deluxe rooms are fully booked through your checkout date. Rebecca hung up that evening. They came to the restaurant, the only nearby dining option. I'd positioned myself at a corner table with paperwork. When they received menus, Brandon's expression changed. These prices don't match your website, he told the server. New management updated pricing yesterday, sir. Brandon walked to my table. Daniel followed. Your prices don't match what we were quoted. New ownership, new pricing, updated yesterday. The Marriott is 15 miles north, if the rates don't suit you. His face flushed. 15 miles. Then our rates are competitive. Their meal, simple entrees, came to $187. Victoria's eyes widened at the check. The next morning, December 22nd, maintenance began at 6 a.m. on the hot water system. Pipes ran through walls adjacent to rooms 12 and 14. Hammering, clanging, water rushing. All legal. All timed. I conducted my inspection at 6:20 and passed their rooms as Daniel emerged, disheveled and exhausted. Morning. Sorry for the noise. Necessary repairs. Finished by 7:30. By day 3, the pattern was clear. Wi-Fi became unreliable in their rooms. Worked perfectly elsewhere. Island infrastructure issues, our IT tech explained. Room service experienced consistent delays, 60 to 90 minutes, instead of 45. Holiday season backup, servers explained. Pool maintenance was rescheduled to 2:04 p.m. daily prime afternoon hours. Each incident alone was minor. Together, suffocating. Brandon documented everything obsessively, photographing, timing. On December 23rd, he confronted me with his laptop. Wi-Fi has been down 2 days. Our service provider is working on it. When will it be fixed? 24 to 48 hours for a technician. This is unacceptable. The lobby has stable connections if you need internet. We're paying for ocean view suites. You are paying for standard rooms with breakfast, which you are receiving. He slammed his laptop and walked away. By Christmas Eve, the family was crumbling. I observed them sitting separately around the pool. Rebecca alone. Daniel pacing. Brandon and Victoria intense conversation. No longer a family unit. 4 individuals trapped in discomfort. That night, lights stayed on past midnight. Staff reported raised voices. Christmas morning, they didn't appear until afternoon. Rebecca's eyes were red. Daniel looked sleepless. Brandon and Victoria moved separately now. I spent Christmas handling legitimate business. Paradise Cove had other guests deserving attention. That evening, Rebecca knocked on my office door. Can we talk? She sat across from my desk, stared at her hands. Why are you doing this? I am running a hotel. Don't pretend this is business. You are punishing us. You wanted a vacation without me, you have it. You bought an entire resort just to... I bought a sound investment. Your presence is coincidental. She laughed bitterly. That is bullshit language, Rebecca. You are destroying our vacation and you care about language. I am not destroying anything. You have rooms, meals, amenities. You are destroying our relationship. Our relationship ended when you planned to throw me in a nursing home, so Brandon wouldn't be embarrassed. She froze. How did you? Miguel heard everything about getting rid of me, selling my house, how your partners didn't want an old crippled veteran at the ceremonies. Rebecca stood abruptly. We were trying to help. You are alone. You thought you'd be richer, free of me. That is not fair. Fair is paying $87,000 for your wedding, $70,000 for Daniel's condo, 25 years of sacrifices. Fair is everything I gave while you planned to steal my home. Tears streamed down her face. When we get back, we're selling that house. Ice settled in my chest. Try it. 2 words, flat. Final, she sobbed and fled. I pulled out my phone. Email from Michael Thompson. Trust documents filed. Your property is fully protected. Rebecca could threaten all she wanted. My house was untouchable. In 3 days, the final bill would arrive. Over $4,000. The lesson was almost complete. December 26th arrived with heavy gray clouds over Paradise Cove. The weather matched my children's mood perfectly. I watched from my office window as they sat by the pool, separate, silent, defeated. Rebecca stared at the water without seeing it. Daniel paced the perimeter, phone pressed to his ear, probably calling other resorts, finding nothing affordable. Brandon and Victoria sat at opposite ends of a table, not speaking, not touching. The fantasy vacation they'd bragged about to their friends had become a prison sentence they were enduring in isolated misery. And they still had 2 more days. That morning, Amanda knocked on my office door with her tablet. Sir, the Morrison party just requested early checkout. They want to leave tomorrow instead of the 28th. I looked up from my laptop. What did you tell them? That our cancellation policy requires full payment for all reserved dates, regardless of early departure. They'd still owe for 7 nights even if they leave after 5. And their response. Mr. Rothschild asked for the total bill amount. She turned her tablet to show me. With updated rates, all meals, services, resort fees, and incidentals, it comes to $4,372. I studied the itemized breakdown. Every charge legitimate. Every price clearly posted. Everything documented with timestamps and signatures. More than double what they budgeted for. I observed. Significantly more. Yes, Amanda hesitated. When I told Mr. Rothschild the amount, he went completely pale. Said there must be an error. Is there? No, sir. Everything is accurate, according to current pricing and their actual usage. Then there is no error. Amanda nodded and left. I sat back in my chair, considering the mathematics of consequence. They'd come here expecting luxury for cheap, expected to exclude me, mock me, then return home to steal my house. Instead, they were trapped in mediocrity. They couldn't escape, paying prices they couldn't afford, facing a father who'd stopped being their safety net. The lesson was brutal, but necessary. My phone buzzed. Text from David Richardson. My attorney in Chicago called by Daniel Morrison this morning, asking about your house. Told him property is in irrevocable trust. He didn't take it well. Thought you should know. I smiled and typed back. Perfect. Thank you. So Daniel had already started making calls. Already trying to figure out how to access my house, sell it, pay off the debts they'd accumulated. Too late. That ship had sailed while they were planning my exile to Sunrise Senior Living. That afternoon, I took a walk around the property, checked in with housekeeping, reviewed the restaurant's holiday menu, spoke with the maintenance crew about the upcoming pool resurfacing project. The fact that my children were experiencing the growing pains of new ownership was simply educational. I was passing the pool when Brandon intercepted me. We need to talk. His voice was tight, controlled, trying to maintain dignity. Of course. My office or here. Here is fine. He glanced around, making sure no other guests were within earshot. This has gone far enough. You've made your point. We were wrong to exclude you. Message received. Now, let's be adults about this. I waited. I am prepared to apologize sincerely, and I am willing to discuss reasonable compensation for the inconvenience we've experienced. Compensation? partial refund, room upgrade for the last 2 nights. Something to acknowledge that this situation has been less than ideal. Brandon Rothschild, investment banker. Manhattan, elite. A man accustomed to negotiating his way out of problems. No, I said simply. His jaw tightened. I am trying to be reasonable here. You are trying to buy your way out of consequences. That is different. An apology? Fine. I am sorry. Rebecca's sorry. We all are. What else? I want you to understand something. Brandon, you are marrying my daughter in 6 weeks. That means you are about to become family. And in my family, respect isn't negotiable. You don't get to exclude people, mock them, plan to dispose of them, then apologize when it becomes inconvenient. So this is revenge. You are that petty. This is education. There is a difference. Education. He repeated flatly. You bought a hotel to teach us a lesson. I bought a sound investment property. The fact that you chose to vacation here is your decision, not mine. The fact that you are unhappy with standard accommodations and market rate pricing isn't my problem to solve. Brandon's face flushed red. You are enjoying this. I am conducting business. Your emotional state isn't relevant to hotel operations. He stepped closer, voice dropping to something dangerous. When we get back to Chicago, there will be consequences. Legal consequences. You've crossed lines here. What lines? I purchased property legally. I notified guests of policy changes within required timeframes. I've provided exactly what was contractually promised. If you believe otherwise, you are welcome to consult an attorney. I have several I can recommend. He stared at me with pure hatred, then turned and walked away. I continued my property inspection, like nothing had happened. That evening, I was reviewing quarterly projections in my office when Rebecca appeared in the doorway. No knock. She just stood there, arms wrapped around herself, looking smaller and more fragile than I'd seen her in years. Can I come in? It is a free country. She sat across from my desk. Didn't speak for a long moment. Just sat there staring at her hands, tears rolling silently down her cheeks. Finally, I called Miguel. I looked up from my laptop. I asked him if it was true, if he really heard us talking about putting you in a nursing home, if we really said those things about you being an embarrassment. And every word, her voice broke. Dad, I don't even recognize who I've become. How did I turn into someone who could do that to you? I leaned back in my chair, studied my daughter, really looked at her, the little girl who used to make me Father's Day cards with glitter and construction paper, the teenager who cried on my shoulder after her first heartbreak, the young woman who'd hugged me so tight at her college graduation, whispering, "Thank you for everything, Daddy." When had that person disappeared? You want to know how? I said quietly. You learned that love is transactional. That family means, what can you do for me? And once you stopped needing what I could provide, I became disposable. That is not. Isn't it? When's the last time you visited me just to visit? Not because you needed money or connections or help. Silence. When's the last time you asked how I was doing? Really asked. Not the performative, "How are you, Dad?" while scrolling through your phone, but actually caring about my answer. More silence. When's the last time you remembered that I am a human being with feelings, not just a resource to extract value from until there is nothing left? Rebecca sobbed openly now. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I didn't comfort her, didn't move to hug her, or pat her hand, or offer the easy forgiveness she was seeking. She needed to sit with this, really feel it. Sorry doesn't rebuild trust, Rebecca. Sorry is just a word people say when they get caught. You are not sorry you planned to put me in a nursing home. You are sorry I found out. You are not sorry you were going to sell my house. You are sorry I protected it first. You are not sorry you excluded me from your vacation. You are sorry I ruined it. That is not true, isn't it? I met her eyes. If I hadn't bought this hotel, if you'd had your perfect St. Thomas vacation, would you be sitting here apologizing? Or would you be back in Chicago right now, meeting with real estate agents, planning to sell my house while I was locked in Sunrise Senior Living? Her face crumpled, She couldn't answer because we both knew the truth. "Here is what is going to happen," I said calmly. "Tomorrow, you are going to check out. You are going to pay the full bill, every penny. You are going to return to Chicago. And you are going to figure out how to be an adult without my money supporting you. Dad, we can't afford. Then you'll figure it out. Get second jobs. Sell the Tesla. Downsize your apartment. Do what millions of people do every day. Live within your means. Brandon will leave me. Then he is not the right person. A real partner stays when things get hard. But that is your decision to make, not mine to solve." She stood slowly, wiping her eyes. "What about us? What about our relationship? That depends entirely on you. It means actions speak louder than words, Rebecca. You can apologize all you want. But until you demonstrate through consistent behavior that you understand what you did wrong and why it matters, we have nothing to rebuild. So you are just cutting me off. Completely. I am establishing boundaries, something I should have done 25 years ago. You are welcome to be in my life, but on terms of mutual respect, not parental exploitation." Rebecca stood there a moment longer, then walked out without another word. I returned to my laptop, pulled up my property management software. Paradise Cove was showing promising revenue trends. The negative reviews from my family had actually increased bookings. People appreciated the transparent, professional responses I'd posted. Sometimes, the trash takes itself out. December 27th. Checkout day. I arrived at the office at 6 a.m. to find Amanda already there, preparing final invoices. "The Morrison party requested checkout for 10 a.m. instead of 11, she reported. Eager to leave. I imagine they are. At 9:47 a.m., they appeared in the lobby with their luggage. All four of them looking exhausted, defeated, fundamentally changed from the confident group that had arrived 6 days ago. Rebecca approached the desk first. Daniel hung back with Victoria. Brandon stood apart, arms crossed, jaw tight. "Checking out," Rebecca said quietly. Amanda processed the checkout with professional efficiency. The printer hummed to life, producing the final invoice. She placed it face down on the counter, slid it toward Rebecca with practiced grace. Rebecca picked it up, turned it over. Her hand froze. "This says $4,372. "Yes, ma'am. That is the total for 7 nights, including all charges. But we only stayed 6 nights. The cancellation policy requires payment for all reserved dates, regardless of early departure. It is clearly stated in the terms you agreed to at booking." Rebecca pulled out her credit card with shaking hands. Tapped it against the terminal. Declined. She tried again, entering the PIN manually. Brandon stepped forward and handed over his card without looking at anyone. The terminal processed. Approved. He took the receipt, folded it without looking, and shoved it in his pocket. They moved toward the exit, like refugees. No goodbye to staff. No final look around. Just desperate to escape. I watched from my office window as they loaded into a taxi. Rebecca got in last, pausing to look back at the resort. For a brief moment, our eyes met through the window. Then she got in the car and they drove away. Amanda came to my office 15 minutes later. "They're gone. How is the rest of the day looking?" 3 new check-ins this afternoon. Honeymooning couple from Boston. Family of 4 from Texas. Retired couple from Seattle. Excellent. Make sure they get the premium experience. Of course, she paused. "Sir, may I ask, was it worth it? The hotel purchase? The planning, the execution, the confrontation?" I considered the question. Really thought about it. "Ask me again in 6 months, I said. "We'll see if they learned anything," Amanda nodded and returned to work. I spent the rest of the day managing actual hotel operations. The Morgan family drama was finished. Now it was time to focus on running Paradise Cove properly. I flew back to Chicago on December 29th. Landed at O'Hare at 11 p.m. Took a taxi home through empty streets. My house was exactly as I'd left it. Quiet, dated. The kitchen where we'd made breakfast every morning. The living room where we'd watched Jennifer and Daniel grow up. The bedroom where I'd held my wife as cancer slowly took her from me. This house wasn't just property. It was my life, my history, my sanctuary. And they tried to take it from me. The next week passed quietly. I returned to my routine: morning coffee, property management reviews for my other hotels, weekly physical therapy at the VA hospital, dinner alone while watching the Bulls game. On January 3rd, my doorbell rang at 6 p.m. I opened it to find Rebecca standing on my porch, alone. No Brandon. No fancy clothes. Just jeans, a simple jacket, and eyes that had been crying recently. "Can we talk?" I stepped aside. She entered. We sat in the living room, the same room where I'd hosted that disastrous family dinner in November. The same room where they'd excluded me from their vacation. "Brandon and I broke up," she said without preamble. I waited. 2 days after we got back, he said, I came from a dysfunctional family with serious boundary issues, and he couldn't marry into that. He wanted me to cut you off completely. Choose him or you. And I chose you. Tears spilled, or at least I chose the possibility of you. The chance that maybe someday you'd forgive me. What about Daniel? He and Victoria broke up too. She said the same thing. Our family is too complicated, too dramatic. She is from old San Francisco money, very proper, very controlled. She called us nouveau, rich trash with delusions of grandeur. Despite everything, I felt a small twinge of sympathy. Not for the relationship's ending. Those were probably doomed anyway. But for my children facing consequences they hadn't anticipated. So you are here because you are single and broke and have nowhere else to turn. Number. She looked up, meeting my eyes directly for the first time. I am here because I spent the last week looking at old photos. Remember when I was 8, and I broke Mom's favorite vase playing ball in the house? I nodded. You didn't yell. You sat me down and explained why we have to be careful with other people's precious things. Then you helped me save my allowance for 3 months to buy her a replacement. And when I was 16 and wrecked the car you just bought me, you didn't take it away. You made me get a job at Starbucks to pay for the repairs myself. I hated you for that. All my friends' parents just paid for their mistakes. I didn't want to raise someone who expected others to clean up their messes. I know. She pulled out a folder from her bag. I got a job. Administrative assistant at a law firm. $22 an hour. I moved into a studio apartment in Logan Square. $600 a month. I sold the Tesla. Bought a used Honda Civic. She slid the folder across the coffee table. Bank statements. Employment contract. Lease agreement. Budget spreadsheet. I am paying off my credit cards. $43,000. It is going to take me 4 years at my current income, but I am doing it. No bankruptcy, no debt consolidation loans. Just me, working my ass off to fix what I broke. I picked up the folder, examined the documents. They were real, legitimate. The budget was tight but realistic. She'd cut everything. No dinners out, no shopping, no luxuries. Just rent, utilities, student loan minimum payments, and aggressive credit card payoff. Why are you showing me this? Because you were right. I became someone who saw you as a resource instead of a person. And I am trying to become someone different. This is a good start, I acknowledged. I am not asking for money. I am not asking for you to fix anything. I am just asking, can I come over for dinner sometimes? Just to talk. I miss the relationship we used to have before I ruined it. I set down the folder. Once a week. Sunday dinners. 6 p.m. You bring dessert. Nothing expensive. Just something from the grocery store bakery. We eat. We talk. We see if we can rebuild trust. Her face lit up, rally. On one condition, anything. You never ever treat me like a resource again. The moment you ask for money, the moment you want me to pull strings or solve your problems, we're done. Permanently? Do you understand? I understand, she stood. Thank you, Dad. I know I don't deserve this chance. You are right. You don't. But I am not doing this because you deserve it. I am doing it because I believe people can change. Prove me right. She hugged me brief, tentative, genuine, then left. I sat in the quiet house after she was gone, thinking about second chances and whether people truly change or just learn to hide their nature better. 3 weeks later, Daniel showed up. Same story, different details. Victoria had left him. He was drowning in debt. He'd gotten a job doing it, support. Moved into a cheaper apartment. Was trying to fix his life. "Can we try again?" he asked. "Can I prove I am not the person who planned to throw you away?" I gave him the same terms. Sunday dinners. No asking for money. No requesting favors. Just rebuilding the relationship through consistent, respectful behavior. He agreed. So now, every Sunday at 6 p.m., my children come to dinner. Rebecca brings dessert. Daniel brings wine. Cheap stuff from Trader Joe's, nothing fancy. We eat pot roast or spaghetti or whatever I've made. We talk about their jobs, their struggles, their small victories. We don't talk about money. We don't talk about what they did or what I did in St. Thomas. We just exist together as a family in a new way. Is it perfect? Do I trust them completely? Not yet. Maybe never, but we're trying. And that is more than we had before. Paradise Cove Resort is thriving. I visit once a month to check operations. Amanda runs it beautifully. We've increased occupancy to 84%. Revenue is up 37% year over year. The property is becoming known as a hidden gem boutique, well-managed, authentic Caribbean experience. The negative reviews my family left are still there, but they're buried now under hundreds of positive ones. And honestly, those negative reviews serve a purpose. They remind me why I bought the place, what I was willing to do to demand respect. My other properties are doing well too. The Tampa Hotel just completed a major renovation. The Sarasota Bed and Breakfast won a regional award. Wilson Holdings LLC is worth over $4 million now. Not bad for an old crippled veteran who was supposed to be rotting in a nursing home by now. I am sitting on my porch tonight, the same porch where Rebecca stood crying 3 months ago, asking for a second chance. The Chicago spring air is warming up. Baseball season is starting. The Bulls made the playoffs. Life is good. My phone buzzes. Text from Rebecca. Made the last payment on my first credit card today. 1 down, 2 to go. Thanks for believing in me. I smile and type back, proud of you. See you Sunday. Then I set down my phone and look at my house. My protected, untouchable, forever mine house. People ask me sometimes if I regret what I did. If buying an entire resort just to teach my children a lesson was too extreme, too petty, too cruel. Would they have truly understood what they'd done? I don't think so. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is let people face the full weight of their choices. Sometimes you have to let them hit bottom before they'll climb back up. Sometimes you have to be willing to break something completely before you can rebuild it properly. My relationship with my children was broken long before St. Thomas. It had been cracking for years, held together by my money and my willingness to be used. St. Thomas didn't break us. It revealed what was already broken. And now, slowly, painfully, we're building something new. Something based on mutual respect instead of financial dependence. Something authentic instead of transactional. Is it perfect? Will we fully heal? I don't know, but we're trying. And that is enough for now. I stand up from my porch chair and go inside. Time to start prep for Sunday dinner. Rebecca's bringing apple pie this week. Daniel's bringing a Malbec he found on sale. We'll eat, we'll talk, we'll laugh a little. We'll navigate the careful boundaries we've established. And maybe, someday, we'll become the family we should have been all along. The sun sets over Lincoln Park. My house, my protected, beautiful, memory-filled house, glows in the fading light. I walk through rooms that know my history, past the photo of Margaret on our wedding day, past the pictures of Rebecca and Daniel as children, past evidence of a life fully lived. This house is mine, my sanctuary, my fortress, my home. They tried to take it. They failed. And in failing, they learn the most important lesson I could ever teach them. Respect isn't given freely. It is earned through consistent behavior. And once broken, trust takes years to rebuild. Some people might call what I did revenge. I call it education. And class is still in session.